Good morning. I thought this morning, while it's not raining, I would take you a tour through our garden. So here we go. Down here in these pots on the bottom, these are ginger. We're trying to grow ginger this year for the first time. Then we have our lime balm. We have our hot peppers. They're all in bags this year. Trying to grow bags for the first time. So these are all of our hot peppers. Then I have a rosemary plant and a lavender plant. And then I have all my kale. Lots and lots and lots of kale. Then over on this side I have my lemon balm, mint, lots of mint. Inside this mint is, we have chocolate mint and peppermint. There's more dill. Here's white Chinese celery. We have green onions growing here. And we have lettuce in these pots and grow bags. And then we have some more hot peppers. Here's some parsley, thyme, oregano. There's our chives and more rosemary. This lemon balm is really out of control this year. I'm going to need to do something with it. Lots and lots of lemon balm. And then my basil, we have cinnamon basil here. And then we have lemon and lime basil. I love lemon and lime basil. And then here we have all of our regular basil. And then we have a sage plant here. Before I leave this section, here up in the front, I have more kale. And then we've got cabbage, and we're actually the cabbage is starting to head already. So that's pretty exciting. And then over here I have a garage plant and hyssop. And then mixed in here we have coneflowers to draw bees, more coneflower, more dill, and a black-eyed Susan, and then mixed in here too we have some other plants that will draw bees. I just love coneflowers. This is our Asian pear tree. It actually has a few on it this year. This is another Asian pear tree. Then over here is our corn. This year we're doing an experiment. Here's all of our corn, and in our corn we're growing black beans to dry. So the beans will climb up the corn stalks. And then we have our squash. On this half is our Cushaw pumpkins. You can see them all within the corn. This is the three sister method, where you take your corn and then you grow your squash down on the bottom, and then you have your beans climb up your corn stalk. And since these are dried beans, they can just sit and dry on the corn stalks. On this side, the squash I have is spaghetti squash. You can see the beans down here, and then the squash. This is the first time we've done it this way. We're hoping it'll keep our corn from blowing over like it does every year. Over here is our zucchinis. We're doing them in a pot this year because they always do terrible in the ground. And then down here we have celeriac. Last year the birds or something pulled all the celeriac out of the ground and we never got any, so we're trying it in pots this year. See how that works. And then we have our kohlrabi. And you can see that it is starting to make its little red and purple. This one Get in here and get a good picture of it. There you go. You can kind of see it. Then we have our cucumbers. And we have more tomatoes here. You will see we have a lot of tomatoes. And there's Jim pollinating our tomato plants. When you see how many tomato plants we have, you'll wonder why we want more tomatoes. But here's our blueberries. And you'll notice we've got them all netted because the bees really, really, really like our blueberries. Or the bees, the birds. The birds really like our blueberries, as do the bees. And if we don't net them, we don't get anything. Here's more tomato plants. And there's more tomato plants there. And there's more tomato plants there.
These are our dwarfs here.
These are dwarf tomato plants. We have every kind of tomato plant imaginable. This is our broccoli and cauliflower plants. So they're doing really well. And more blueberries. Those should be ripening for long. Here's our asparagus bed. We got lots and lots of asparagus this year, and then after we cut tons of it, we just let it go so that way it develops more roots and makes it stronger for next year. These are our blackberries, and we did not have to net these because last year the birds didn't bother them, so I didn't net them because it's really hard to pick them when you put a net on them. Here's our raspberry patch. I just picked raspberries this morning. And again, we didn't net these because last year the birds didn't really bother them. Love my raspberries. So they're doing really well. In fact, they're doing so well, they're growing up in my hostas, but that's okay. Then we have our strawberry patch, and yes, we have these netted because if not, the birds will get them. We have picked a lot of strawberries. Jim's enjoyed a couple strawberry pies already, and I've put tons of strawberries in my smoothies. And that will go back here. There's our compost piles. All right, we have more tomatoes. Lots of tomatoes. And over here we have another bed of tomatoes. We're kind of tomato crazy this year, like every other year. These are our pole beans. These actually are like green beans, snap beans. And we've got them so that they can grow up and over. Down here below, we have these petunias surrounding our zucchini. And Jim grew these petunias from seed. They're old-fashioned petunias, and I just went to see them. They are so pretty. I just love these. They're just gorgeous. Anyways, here's more zucchini. We have zucchini in the ground, zucchini in buckets. We're trying to get some zucchini this year. Here's more of the whole beans. Back here we have potatoes in grow bags. And they're doing really, really well. Lots of potatoes in grow bags. And over here, we have more beans that will climb up this trellis, and these will be a dried bean. So we will let them grow and dry so we can store them. Here's a couple more hot peppers. Then I plant zinnias all around to draw bees. We have more peppers here. We love peppers of all kinds. tomato beds. Jim's pollinating his tomatoes again. And here's more tomatoes. Our beds back here last year were really, really terrible. Everything in them was just, it did not grow. And last fall, Jim put, excuse me, composted chicken manure. He emptied our compost piles in it. He put leaf mulch and lime. And then this year, he's put, what would you put in him? Mushroom compost. He put mushroom compost in all of our beds, and it has really, really, really made a difference. And here we have cabbage. This bed is all cabbage. Some of it's late flat Dutch, and up in the front is the earlier variety. These beans here are kidney beans. They'll grow up the trellis there. And these are our snow peas. I'm gonna back up so you can see how tall these things are. We have never had snow peas this tall. I mean, they are thriving. This year when I planted the snow peas, since the rabbits like to eat them as fast as they come up, I netted them. I netted all of our snow peas. And we've had to net most of our beans because if not, the rabbits, the squirrels, they just make a mess of them. So we have done lots of covering up of our crops as they're coming up. Back here are dried beans. They're pull beans, but we will let them all dry. And we have chipmunks and squirrels and baby squirrels. And they have dug up the dried beans as fast as we can plant them. So we finally did have to cover them. And so they're doing better. We've replanted, and so that we'd get some. This is the worst batch. Over here, these beans are doing much better. These are also going to be dried beans. And you can see that we've put the tunnels up, and we're hoping those will all be covered with dried beans. You can see our tunnels there. And these beans back here are really doing well. And then farther back, these are our cherry bushes. They only produced a couple cherries this year, but next year they should be old enough that they should start producing quite a few cherries. Back here we have more blueberry plants. And also back here then we have our apple trees. We have 4 apple trees. Whoops. Sorry, I'm trying to make you seasick here. We have one of our pawpaw trees here. This is another one of our pawpaw trees, and we're hoping by next year, they tried to bloom this year, so we're hoping by next year they are old enough that we should get some pawpaws. This is our 4th apple tree. And over here we have more peppers. Our peppers are doing so well this year. Last year they were really puny looking, and this year they just have such a nice, wonderful dark color. And they're actually producing some peppers. We have a few more potato plants here. They're really doing good. Then we have our Egyptian walking onions. And they are thriving. And then we have onions here that were storage onions for later. Then we planted watermelons in this bed, and the critters have destroyed what few came up, except we have one little one over here and one here, and we have planted some in pots and hope to transplant them once they get big enough that the critters will leave them alone. This is our little cherry tree, and it has really done well this year. You see we have it netted also, or we wouldn't get any cherries. It produced a lot. We have been eating them, and we look forward to this tree getting a little bit bigger and producing a lot more. Here we have more peppers. As you can see, they're really doing good. The color is great. Last year our peppers were yellow and sickly looking, and this year they're really doing good. These are our green beans. They're doing really well. This bed of green beans, the chipmunks and squirrels helped dig them up, and then the rabbits ate some of them. So we replanted a few, and they're looking a lot better. It's another little pawpaw tree. These are squashes here. On this side we had butternut squashes, and the squirrels and the chipmunks dug them all up and destroyed them. So we've got some other squash started in pots, and we'll replant once they're big enough that the critters will leave them alone. We have beets over here, and we have more broccoli plants here. There's another one of our pawpaw trees. Here's our garlic bed. Garlic's doing good. We enjoyed some garlic scapes last night. These are more onions. And Jim's pulled part of the onions, so we've planted a couple more zucchini here. And we have more lettuce and a pepper plant that we didn't have any place to put. A hot pepper. So I think that pretty much takes care. Oh, there's two peach trees back here also, but they're not doing so well. They have peaches on them, but they've dropped most of them. Peaches are pretty touchy. So that's our garden tour. I hope your gardens are doing well. Happy gardening.